The night is quiet, and the air feels soft against the skin. A faint glow lingers on the horizon, fading gently as the stars begin to scatter overhead. The world slows down, as though time itself is ready to rest. The listener settles into this stillness, the body supported, the breath beginning to steady. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. The invitation drifts gently into the space, carried without pressure, offered as a whisper of kindness. Perhaps you might also share in the comments where you're listening from and the current time. It's always comforting to know how far these quiet journeys travel and how many souls are resting together under the same sky. Now the breath becomes the focus. Inhale slowly, feeling the coolness enter the nostrils, filling the chest, expanding softly. Exhale gently, a slow release, allowing the body to let go of its tension. Inhale once more, steady and calm. Exhale again, feeling the weight of the day slip further away. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's drift into tonight's meditation together. The journey begins with an image. A traveler walking along a quiet path through a meadow at twilight. The air is still, yet within the traveler's chest, there is a familiar restlessness. A quiet desire to control the way ahead, to make certain the journey will unfold exactly as imagined. But each step along the path is a reminder that the world cannot be bent to will. The grass sways without asking. The stars emerge without command. The night deepens of its own accord. The illusion of control begins to appear here, in the space between expectation and reality. So often, the mind tries to tighten its grip on life, imagining it can shape every outcome. But the more tightly it holds, the heavier it feels. Control is like carrying a stone in the pocket. At first, it seems manageable, but over time, the weight drags the body down. The Buddhist teaching of impermanence comes gently into the moment. Everything shifts, everything flows, everything changes. To believe we can hold the river in our hands is to live in struggle. To see the river as it is, flowing freely, endlessly, is to discover peace. A mindful practice arises. The listener is invited to breathe deeply and imagine placing their burdens into the current of a river. Each inhale draws the awareness of what feels heavy. Each exhale places that weight upon the water, where it drifts downstream, no longer clung to, no longer carried. Slowly, the shoulders soften. The chest feels lighter. The breath flows easier. Some say control is safety, that without it, chaos reigns. Others discover that control is the very source of unease, a rope pulled too tightly, cutting into the skin of the heart. Perhaps true safety lies not in grasping, but in resting, trusting that the path unfolds, whether guided by hand or not. The traveler in the meadow pauses, tilts their head to the sky, and notices the quiet shimmer of stars. They realize the heavens shine without being commanded. The earth turns without their will. and the body breathes even when the mind is still. Control, once thought necessary, dissolves into illusion. What remains is freedom, a softness that holds everything gently. The narrator whispers, "Just breathe. It's safe to let go, drifting deeper now." The meadow grows dim, the stars bright, and the listener sinks deeper into the journey, where the illusion of control begins to soften into peace. The breath deepens, flowing like a soft tide across the shore. Each inhale gathers calm. Each exhale spreads release into the body. In this rhythm, the listener begins to notice how control is never truly theirs. It is like ripples on water, moving outward beyond reach. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines tossing a smooth stone into a pond. The surface trembles as circles expand in every direction. At first, the ripples are strong, but soon they soften, spreading wider and wider until they dissolve into stillness. The listener realizes that while they could choose to drop the stone, they could not decide how far the ripples would travel, nor in what pattern they would fade. Control ends where life begins its own unfolding. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha often reminded his followers that while they can plant seeds through intention and effort, the results are shaped by countless causes and conditions beyond their hands. A farmer tills the soil, scatters grain, waters the earth, but whether the crop flourishes depends on rain, sun, and time. Control is partial, never complete. To see this is to loosen the grip of expectation and open the heart to trust. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is invited to recall a recent effort, something they tried to shape or control. With each inhale, they hold the memory gently. With each exhale, they imagine setting it down, releasing it into the pond like a stone, watching the ripples move outward. They breathe as witnesses, not as masters, realizing that life continues to flow beyond their hands. A reflection surfaces. Some believe that control is the measure of success, that to shape outcomes is to prove one's strength. Others discover that freedom lies in effort without clinging, in acting with clarity, but resting in trust. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence and surrender heal more than grasping ever could. The body responds with ease. The shoulders relax. The chest feels lighter. The breath flows more smoothly. The hollow inside no longer aches with the strain of holding. It feels spacious, open, like the pond that receives the stone without resistance. The narrator whispers, "Watch the ripples. See how they move on their own. Just breathe. It's safe to trust, drifting deeper now." The pond glimmers under moonlight, the surface calming as the ripples fade. The listener rests here, realizing that control was never truly theirs to begin with, and that peace arises when one allows the ripples to travel as they will. And so, the illusion of control softens once more, revealing the gentle truth that life flows beyond the grasp of the hand. The breath settles into a slow, steady rhythm, like a breeze moving gently through tall grass. Each inhale gathers calm into the body. Each exhale releases the weight of strain. In this gentle flow, the listener begins to sense how control, when clung to, is like a fist clenched too tightly, exhausting, painful, and unnecessary. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines holding a handful of fine sand. At first, the grip is loose and the grains rest easily in the palm. But as the fist tightens, the sand begins to slip through the cracks, scattering away no matter how strong the hold. The tighter the grip, the faster it is lost. Control, too, is like this. The harder we cling, the more quickly peace escapes. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha often taught about tanha, craving, the thirst that drives suffering. The desire to control is a subtle form of this craving. It is the belief that if one can hold tightly enough, suffering will vanish. Yet the truth is the opposite. The grasping itself creates the pain. To unclench the fist, to open the hand, is to allow ease to return. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is invited to bring awareness to their own body. With each inhale, they notice a place of tension, perhaps the jaw, the shoulders, or the hands. With each exhale, they imagine unclenching, softening, opening. They visualize releasing sand from their palm, watching it drift gently back to the earth. The body learns that peace comes not from gripping, but from letting go. A reflection surfaces. Some believe strength is shown through control, through the power of holding firm no matter what. Others discover strength is revealed in release, in the courage to soften and trust. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals most deeply when the fist opens, when the clinging heart learns to rest. The body responds with lightness. The chest expands freely. The breath deepens. The muscles soften. The hollow inside no longer aches with strain. It feels open, like a hand finally released after being clenched for too long. The narrator whispers, "Open the hand. Let the sand fall. Just breathe. It's safe to release. Drifting deeper now." The meadow within the imagination glows softly in moonlight, grains of sand shimmering as they scatter to the ground. The listener rests here, feeling no loss, only relief, realizing that letting go is not weakness, but freedom. And so, silence teaches once more that the illusion of control is a clenched fist, and that peace is found in the gentle act of opening the hand. The breath flows gently, like soft rain falling across a wide plain. Each inhale brings a cool freshness. Each exhale releases the weight of struggle. In this rhythm, silence reveals a truth that is both humbling and liberating. There are storms that cannot be tamed, no matter how tightly the heart longs to control them. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines standing at the edge of the sea. Dark clouds gather above. Waves begin to rise, and thunder rumbles in the distance. Instinctively, the hands clench, the body braces, as though sheer will could calm the storm. But the wind only grows stronger, the sea roars louder, and the clouds burst open with rain. The listener realizes in this moment that no command, no desire, no force can halt what nature has set in motion. The storm belongs to itself. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha reminded his followers that life is marked by dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, the truth that the world does not bend to desire. To resist this truth is to suffer. To accept it is to awaken. Just as the storm moves on its own, life unfolds beyond control. Our task is not to still the storm, but to learn how to rest beneath its passing. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is invited to imagine themselves standing in the storm, feeling the rain fall, the wind swirl, the thunder echo. With each inhale, they acknowledge the storm. With each exhale, they release the urge to fight it. Slowly, the body softens. The storm remains, but the struggle dissolves. In this surrender, peace emerges like a quiet clearing at the heart of the tempest. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control is strength, that to command the storm is a proof of mastery. Others discover strength is gentleness, the courage to stand calmly while the storm rages, knowing it will pass. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals not by overpowering, but by allowing. The body responds with release. The shoulders soften. The breath steadies. The heart beats calmly. The hollow inside no longer aches with resistance. It feels like the eye of the storm, quiet and still. The narrator whispers, "Let the storm be. You are safe here. Just breathe. It's safe to allow. Drifting deeper now." The storm within the imagination begins to shift. The thunder grows distant. The rain lightens, and slowly the clouds part to reveal the gentle glow of moonlight. The listener rests here, realizing that storms cannot be tamed, but peace can be found within them. And so, the illusion of control fades once more, teaching that strength lies not in command, but in surrender to the truth of things as they are. The breath slows, flowing like a gentle stream, winding its way through moss-covered stones. Each inhale gathers clarity. Each exhale releases the day's weight. Within this rhythm, silence begins to reveal one of its most profound truths, that impermanence is the great dance of life, and it cannot be controlled. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines standing beneath a tall tree in late autumn. Golden leaves cling to its branches, trembling faintly in the breeze. With each passing moment, one leaf lets go, drifting downward in a slow spiral. Another follows, then another, until the ground is gently carpeted with fading color. The tree does not resist. The leaves do not cling. There is no struggle, only the quiet rhythm of change, unfolding as it must. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha spoke often of anicca, impermanence, the truth that all things arise and pass away. To imagine control over this law is to fight the very current of life. It is like trying to hold back the tide with bare hands, or asking the sun not to set. Control is an illusion that vanishes the moment we awaken to change. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is invited to breathe in and visualize a golden leaf resting in their hand. With the exhale, they gently release it, watching it fall and land softly upon the earth. Inhale again. Another leaf is given, and with the exhale, it too is released. With each cycle of breath, the practice of letting go becomes easier, more natural. The body learns that surrender is not loss. It is participation in the dance of impermanence. A reflection surfaces. Some believe stability comes from control, from grasping tightly at what is fragile. Others discover that stability is found in flowing with change, in trusting the rhythm of impermanence. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by allowing change to move freely, while the heart rests in awareness. The body responds with calm acceptance. The chest feels open, the breath deep, the muscles free of tension. The hollow inside no longer aches with fear of loss. It feels like the tree itself, steady in its roots, allowing leaves to come and go. The narrator whispers, "Watch the leaf fall. Notice how gently it lands. Just breathe. It's safe to trust change." Drifting deeper now. The tree within the imagination glows in the pale light of twilight, branches thinning, yet standing tall and serene. The listener rests here, realizing that control is only a shadow, while impermanence is the true dance of life. And so, the illusion of control fades again, teaching that peace comes not from clinging, but from flowing with the rhythm of change. The breath flows like a soft current, steady and unforced. Each inhale draws in spaciousness. Each exhale releases the grip of effort. In this rhythm, silence begins to unveil another image, that control is like a net cast into the sea, always slipping, never holding what it promises. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines standing by the shore, holding a wide net in their hands. They cast it out into the glimmering water, watching it spread open and sink. For a moment, it feels as if the sea might be captured, contained. But when the net is pulled back, it comes up dripping, nearly empty. Water pours through its threads, ungraspable, unstoppable. No matter how many times it is cast, the sea cannot be held. Control is the same, an effortful net, always leaking, always failing to contain the boundless flow of life. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha spoke of attachment as the root of suffering, like trying to hold what cannot be held. The attempt to control outcomes, people, even thoughts, is like fishing for the ocean itself. To awaken is to see the futility of the net, and to rest instead on the shore, watching the sea move in its vastness. A mindful practice unfolds, the listener is guided to imagine a net within their own mind. The urge to capture, to hold, to control. With each inhale, they notice the net. With each exhale, they allow it to loosen, to fall away, watching the water pass freely through. Breath by breath, the grip softens, the futility of the net dissolves, and peace arises in the letting go. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control is protection, that if the net is strong enough, life will be safe. Others discover safety comes from trust, from sitting calmly by the shore, letting the sea be the sea. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by loosening the net, by allowing life to pass unresisted. The body responds with release. The breath deepens. The shoulders soften. The chest feels unburdened. The hollow inside no longer aches with the effort of holding. It feels like the open shore, watching waves rise and fall without needing to contain them. The narrator whispers, "Let the net slip. The sea cannot be held. Just breathe. It's safe to release. Drifting deeper now." The ocean within the imagination glimmers under moonlight, waves moving freely, endlessly. The listener rests here, realizing that control was never about capturing, but about learning to watch with open eyes and a soft heart. And so, silence teaches again. Control is a net that never holds water, while freedom is found in letting the sea flow as it will. The breath deepens, like wind moving through tall pines, steady and unhurried. Each inhale draws awareness inward. Each exhale releases a quiet sigh of ease. Within this rhythm, silence uncovers another truth, that control is often a weight we choose to carry, though we could set it down at any moment. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines walking along a forest trail at dawn, carrying a heavy pack upon their shoulders. At first, the burden feels necessary, as though it contains everything required for the journey. Yet step after step, the weight grows more noticeable. The back aches, the legs tire, and the spirit begins to strain. Along the path, a smooth stone bench appears beneath an ancient tree. The listener sets the pack down upon it, and, for the first time, feels the lightness of release. The path is the same, but the body moves with freedom. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha spoke of suffering born not only from what life brings, but from the burdens we insist on carrying. Many of these burdens are illusions of control, the belief that without them we will falter. Yet when we put them down, we see they were never needed. True strength lies in choosing what to carry and what to release. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is invited to notice the weight within their own body, the heaviness in the chest, the tightness in the shoulders, the tension in the brow. With each inhale, they become aware of this weight. With each exhale, they imagine setting it down beside them, as though placing a heavy pack on the ground. Breath by breath, the body learns the freedom of release. A reflection surfaces. Some believe responsibility means carrying everything, that control is proof of worth. Others discover that responsibility is not the same as burden. and that peace arises when we choose wisely what to hold. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by teaching that the heaviest loads are often self-imposed. The body responds with relief. The chest feels expansive, the back light, the breath unburdened. The hollow inside no longer aches with strain. It feels as though the weight has been lifted, leaving space for ease and stillness. The narrator whispers, "Set it down. You don't need to carry this. Just breathe. It's safe to rest." Drifting deeper now. The forest glows gently with morning light. The ancient tree standing tall. The stone bench holding the abandoned pack. The listener rests here, realizing that control, once thought essential, was only a weight, and that freedom begins with the choice to release it. And so, silence teaches again that peace is not in carrying more, but in knowing when to let go of the burden of control. The breath flows easily now, steady and natural, like a breeze moving through an open window. Each inhale rises on its own. Each exhale falls without effort. In this rhythm, silence reveals a simple truth. Even the breath, the most constant companion of life, is not under full control. It comes and goes on its own, a reminder of freedom beyond command. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines lying in a quiet meadow beneath the night sky. The chest rises and falls with the rhythm of breathing, but there is no need to force it. The body knows how to breathe, even in sleep, even when the mind is far away. The breath is not owned, not commanded. It is borrowed, given freely by life itself. Control slips gently from this moment, replaced by wonder at the quiet intelligence of the body. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha often spoke of mindfulness of breathing, anapanasati, as a path to liberation. It is not about forcing the breath, but about watching it, resting with it, becoming intimate with its flow. To realize that the breath moves without control is to glimpse impermanence and non-self, that life is lived, not owned, and that peace comes through surrender, not through grasping. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to simply notice the breath as it is. Inhale, cool air flows in. Exhale, warm air drifts out. There is no need to shape it, no need to demand it. With each cycle, the breath proves its independence, and the listener learns the softness of trust. The more they allow, the more ease arises. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control ensures survival, that by holding tightly, they keep life steady. Others discover life sustains itself. The heart beats, the breath flows, the earth turns, without command. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by showing that life continues even when the reins are released. The body responds with quiet relief. The chest moves easily. The lungs expand without strain. The shoulders sink into softness. The hollow inside no longer aches with fear of losing control. It feels supported by the very rhythm of life itself. The narrator whispers, "Just breathe. Notice how it flows on its own. It's safe to trust, drifting deeper now. The meadow glimmers softly in starlight, the chest rising and falling like the earth itself breathing. The listener rests here, realizing that even breath, the most intimate act of living, is not theirs to control. And in that truth, they discover freedom. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control dissolves in the breath, the gentle, ever-present reminder that life carries itself forward without effort. The breath moves gently, flowing like a river winding through quiet valleys. Each inhale feels like the gathering of cool waters, each exhale like the soft release downstream. In this rhythm, silence reveals the truth of surrender, that peace arises when one lets the river flow, instead of trying to dam its current. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines standing at the edge of a great river. The water moves steadily, neither rushing nor stalling, but flowing in its own rhythm. Instinctively, the mind wants to reach out, to guide it, to redirect its path. Yet the river does not yield. It continues onward, following its own course, untouched by desire or command. The listener realizes they can exhaust themselves trying to fight its current, or they can step gently into the flow and be carried with ease. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha often used the metaphor of water to describe life and practice. He taught that clinging is like trying to grasp the river with one's hands, while awakening is like floating gently upon it, carried by the Dharma's natural flow. Control is resistance, a wall against the current. Letting go is trust, surrendering into the truth of how things are. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is invited to breathe with the rhythm of the river. Inhale. Imagine stepping into the cool waters. Exhale. Feel the body lifted, carried effortlessly downstream. Each breath is a gentle surrender, a reminder that life's current moves whether or not one resists. The body learns, breath by breath, to flow. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control ensures direction, that without steering, one will drift astray. Others discover that surrender brings harmony, that the current carries them exactly where they need to be. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals not through control, but through trust in the river's way. The body responds with ease. The chest feels buoyant, the breath deep, the muscles relaxed. The hollow inside no longer aches with the strain of resisting. It feels like water itself, flowing freely, unburdened. The narrator whispers, "Let the river flow. It knows the way. Just breathe. It's safe to surrender, drifting deeper now." The river within the imagination shimmers under moonlight, its surface calm yet powerful, its current steady and sure. The listener rests here, realizing that control was never theirs to hold. The river flows as it always has, and to join it is to find peace. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control dissolves when one allows the current to carry them, for the river has always known the way home. The breath drifts softly, slow and unforced, like clouds moving across a twilight sky. Each inhale gathers quiet presence. Each exhale releases the urge to grasp. In this rhythm, silence reveals another truth, that control is often nothing more than a mirage, always visible on the horizon, but never within reach. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines walking across a wide desert. The sand is cool beneath the feet, the air dry and still. Ahead, a shimmer appears, the promise of water, of an oasis waiting just beyond sight. Step after step, the image glows, yet as the listener approaches, it fades and shifts, always moving further away. The oasis was never there. Control is the same, always imagined, always sought, but never truly found. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha spoke of the delusions the mind creates, Maya, illusions that bind beings to suffering. Control is one such illusion. It appears real, it seems necessary, yet it dissolves upon closer inspection. Like the mirage, it tricks the senses, keeping the traveler thirsty, though the truth is already within them. Peace comes not from chasing, but from resting where they stand. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is invited to breathe with this image. Inhale, notice the longing for the mirage. Exhale, allow it to fade, letting the desert be what it is. Breath by breath, the longing softens, the mirage dissolves, and the listener begins to rest in the vastness of what already is. A reflection surfaces. Some believe peace lies just ahead, attainable if only control is perfected. Others discover peace is here in the step already taken, in the breath already flowing. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by dissolving illusions, revealing the oasis that has always existed within. The body responds with relief. The chest opens with ease. The breath flows steadily. The muscles loosen. The hollow inside no longer aches with endless chasing. It feels like a wide desert sky, open and free. The narrator whispers, "See the mirage fade. The horizon is clear. Just breathe. It's safe to rest here, drifting deeper now." The desert stretches softly beneath a glowing moon, vast and endless, yet peaceful. The mirage vanishes into stillness, and the listener rests, realizing that the promise of control was always an illusion. The truth is found not in chasing, but in the quiet presence of now. And so, silence teaches once more that control is a horizon never reached, and that freedom begins when we stop walking toward the mirage and rest in the stillness beneath our feet. The breath moves slowly, steady as the turning of the earth. Each inhale gathers awareness. Each exhale releases tension into the quiet. In this rhythm, silence begins to reveal another face of control. The restless mind that never stops planning, as though certainty could erase uncertainty. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines sitting at a small desk by candlelight. Before them lies a scroll that stretches endlessly across the table. With careful hands, they begin to write out plans, one after another, line after line. The candle flickers, the ink dries, yet the scroll unrolls further and further, without end. No matter how much is written, the future remains unwritten, always beyond the edge of the scroll. The mind's endless plans never bring completion. They only create the illusion of safety. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha taught that craving for certainty is another form of attachment. To imagine that control can secure the future is to live in restlessness, forever caught in the net of dukkha. Peace is not found in endless strategy, but in returning to the present moment, the only place where life truly exists. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is invited to notice the scroll of their own thoughts. Inhale. Become aware of the planning mind. Exhale. Imagine rolling the scroll closed, setting down the pen, breath by breath. The candlelight steadies, and the silence deepens. The mind softens, learning that it does not need to map the future to rest in the now. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control lies in preparation, that endless planning will keep them safe. Others discover safety is never guaranteed by the future, but found here, in the steady rhythm of breath. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by quieting the restless mind that chases tomorrow. The body responds with calm release. The chest feels spacious. The jaw softens. The breath flows naturally. The hollow inside no longer aches with anxiety. It feels grounded in the steady glow of the candle's light. The narrator whispers, "Set down the scroll. Let the candle burn steady. Just breathe. It's safe to rest here, drifting deeper now." The desk fades into stillness, the scroll gently closing on its own, the flame glowing warmly in silence. The listener rests here, realizing that control over tomorrow is impossible, but peace is always possible now. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control hides in the restless pen, and that stillness begins when the scroll is rolled away, and the present is enough. The breath moves like a faint whisper, steady and delicate. Each inhale feels like the soft glow of light returning. Each exhale, like the body releasing into rest. In this rhythm, silence offers a new image. Control is as fragile as a candle in the wind, flickering in conditions far beyond our command. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines holding a small candle in a darkened room. Its flame dances gently, casting warm light across the walls. But as the window opens and a draft enters, the flame bends, sways, and nearly goes out. The listener cups their hands protectively around it, trying to shield it from the breeze. For a moment, it steadies. Yet no matter how carefully it's guarded, the flame remains vulnerable. A single gust can extinguish it. Control is this candle, fragile and temporary, always at the mercy of forces larger than ourselves. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha spoke of the truth of anicca, impermanence, reminding us that all things are subject to change. To cling to control is to fight against impermanence, believing the flame can be made eternal. Yet true peace comes from acceptance, from cherishing the light while it glows, without despair when it fades. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to close their eyes and imagine the flame of their own life and inhale, see the flame glow bright. Exhale, allow it to flicker gently. Breath by breath, they learn to rest with its fragility, no longer clinging, no longer fearing its end. The practice is not to command the flame, but to honor it as it is. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control is protection, that vigilance can preserve what is fragile. Others discover protection is an illusion, and peace comes from presence, from being with the light while it shines. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals not by shielding, but by allowing the candle to burn as it will. The body responds with release. The chest feels warm, the breath flows steady, the muscles soften. The hollow inside no longer aches with fear of loss. It glows gently, like the flicker of the flame in stillness. The narrator whispers, "See the flame. Notice how it flickers. Just breathe. It's safe to be with what is. Drifting deeper now." The candle within the imagination glows softly, its flame steadying not from force, but from the quiet acceptance surrounding it. The listener rests here, realizing that control was never the flame's true protection. Peace was found in honoring its impermanence. And so, silence teaches again that control is as fragile as a candle in the wind, and that serenity arises not in clinging, but in cherishing each gentle flicker of light. The breath deepens, flowing like a calm tide returning to shore. Each inhale gathers awareness. Each exhale releases what no longer needs to be held. In this rhythm, silence brings forth a truth long known to Buddhist wisdom, that the urge to control often plants the very seeds of suffering. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines standing in a quiet garden at dawn, the soil rich and dark beneath their feet. In their hands are small seeds, each representing a thought of control. If only things went my way, I would be safe. If only I could hold on, I would be at peace. They press the seeds into the earth, watering them with worry, shading them with expectation. Soon, small shoots rise, but instead of flowers, thorny vines appear, curling around the body, prickling the skin, tightening with each attempt to resist. The seeds of control have grown into suffering. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha spoke of tanha, craving, as the root of dukkha, the unease of life. The desire to control outcomes, people, even thoughts. Is this craving in disguise? We believe it will ease the heart, but it binds us instead. Yet, as the Buddha also taught, we can plant different seeds. Seeds of compassion, of mindfulness, of letting go, and watch suffering dissolve into peace. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to notice their own seeds of control. Inhale. Acknowledge a thought that clings. Exhale. Imagine gently lifting that seed from the soil and placing it aside. Breath by breath, the thorns loosen, the vines fall away, and the garden opens into spaciousness. What remains is fertile ground, waiting for new, gentler seeds to be sown. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control prevents pain, that clinging tightly keeps suffering at bay. Others discover control creates its own pain, that release allows peace to bloom. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by teaching the heart to sow only what brings ease. The body responds with relief. The chest feels lighter, the breath smoother, the muscles soft. The hollow inside no longer aches with thorny pressure. It feels like fertile soil, open to new growth, spacious and calm. The narrator whispers, "See the garden. Notice which seeds you plant. Just breathe. It's safe to let go, drifting deeper now." The garden within the imagination glows in the first light of dawn, the thorns dissolving, soft blossoms beginning to unfold. The listener rests here, realizing that control, once thought protective, was the very seed of unease, and that peace blooms from choosing what to plant. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control grows suffering, while letting go sows freedom in the heart. The breath slows, gentle and deep, like the hush of wind moving through tall reeds. Each inhale draws in calm presence. Each exhale releases hidden tension. In this rhythm, silence reveals another layer of control, how the body itself is often held hostage by the mind's need to command. Muscles tighten, shoulders lift, jaws clench, all in service of an illusion. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines a statue carved from stone, standing tall and rigid in the center of a courtyard. Though beautiful, it is locked in stiffness, unable to bend or breathe. The more the stone resists change, the heavier it feels. Then, slowly, the statue softens into flesh, the stone dissolving into skin, the joints loosening, the breath flowing. What was once rigid becomes alive, free to move and rest. Control had turned the body to stone. Release restored its natural ease. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha reminded his disciples to cultivate awareness not only of thought, but also of the body. He spoke of mindfulness in movement, in stillness, in every posture. To cling to control is to bind the body in unnecessary tension, but to bring awareness is to invite release. The body becomes a vessel of the Dharma, open and soft. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to scan their body with gentle breath. Inhale. Bring awareness to the forehead. Exhale. Soften it. Inhale. Notice the shoulders. Exhale. Let them drop. Inhale. Feel the weight of the hands. Exhale. Allow them to rest. Bit by bit, the body unlearns the stiffness of control, opening into the fluidity of silence. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control strengthens the body. The tension proves endurance. Others discover that control exhausts the body, draining energy that could be used for rest and renewal. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals when the body remembers how to soften. The body responds with relief. The chest expands without effort. The shoulders sink deeper into comfort. The breath flows easily. The hollow inside no longer aches with tightness. It feels light, spacious, open like skin freed from stone. The narrator whispers, "Feel the body soften. It does not need to hold. Just breathe. It's safe to release, drifting deeper now." The courtyard within the imagination fills with the sound of wind. The stone statue gone, replaced by a living, breathing figure at rest. The listener rests here, realizing that control had turned them rigid, but silence has restored their natural flow. And so, silence teaches again that control hardens the body, while letting go allows it to soften and live. The breath moves in calm rhythm, like soft waves meeting the shore beneath a wide horizon. Each inhale feels like opening, each exhale like release. In this rhythm, silence uncovers another truth. Beyond the storms of control, beyond the shifting of thoughts, there is a vastness like the sky, always present, always clear, no matter how many clouds drift across it. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines lying upon a grassy hilltop, gazing upward at the sky. White clouds drift by, sometimes thick and heavy, sometimes thin and fleeting. For a moment, they obscure the sun, casting shade across the earth. Yet behind them, the sky remains untouched. Wide, endless, unchanging. Control is like trying to command the clouds, to push them, hold them, or stop them. But the sky teaches that it does not need to control. It simply allows. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha described awareness itself as luminous, like the clear sky. Thoughts, emotions, and desires, including the urge to control, are passing clouds. To identify with them is to be carried away. To rest, as awareness, is to remember the vastness that is always free. Control is the grasping cloud. Freedom is the spacious sky. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to breathe as though the breath is the wind moving through the sky. Inhale. Notice the rise of a cloud, a thought of control. Exhale. Watch it drift across the sky, dissolving into open space. Breath by breath, the listener learns to rest in the vastness, not in the fleeting shapes. A reflection surfaces. Some believe peace comes when the sky is cloudless, when control makes life perfect. Others discover peace is already present in the sky itself, untouched by whatever passes through. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by revealing the boundless sky of awareness beyond control. The body responds with lightness. The chest feels open. The breath moves freely. The shoulders rest with ease. The hollow inside no longer aches with confinement. It feels vast, wide, limitless, like the sky itself. The narrator whispers, "Be the sky. Let the clouds pass. Just breathe. It's safe to rest here." Drifting deeper now. The hilltop within the imagination glows in gentle sunlight. The clouds slowly parting to reveal a clear, endless expanse. The listener rests here, realizing that control was only a cloud, and that awareness, vast and open, has always been free. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control belongs to the passing clouds, while the truth of freedom lives in the unchanging sky. The breath drifts with softness, like a bow lowering in reverence. Each inhale draws in calm. Each exhale carries a quiet surrender. In this rhythm, silence reveals its teaching, that peace is not found in resistance, but in the gentle bow of acceptance. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines entering a quiet temple at dusk. The air is cool, filled with the faint fragrance of incense. At the center stands a simple altar, adorned only with a small candle glowing steadily in the stillness. The listener approaches, and instead of reaching to grasp, instead of asking or demanding, they bow. The body folds forward, the heart lowers. And in that bowing, a great weight lifts. There is no control here, only respect for what is. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha taught that suffering arises when we fight reality, when we refuse the truth of impermanence, change, and loss. Yet the practice of acceptance is like bowing, not in defeat, but in wisdom. To bow is to see clearly. The world is not ours to control, but we can live in harmony with it. The bow is surrender and strength at once. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is invited to imagine bowing in their heart. Inhale. Feel the spine lengthen, the chest rise. Exhale. Allow the head to lower gently, the heart to soften. Breath by breath, the bow becomes not a ritual, but a posture of life. It is a gesture of release, of reverence, of peace. A reflection surfaces. Some believe acceptance is weakness, that bowing means giving up. Others discover acceptance is strength, the wisdom to release resistance and find rest in what is. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by teaching the grace of the bow, the softness of surrender. The body responds with deep ease. The shoulders drop. The chest feels lighter. The breath flows in harmony. The hollow inside no longer aches with struggle. It feels humble. Softened, free. The narrator whispers, "Bow gently. There is nothing to resist. Just breathe. It's safe to accept." Drifting deeper now. The temple within the imagination glows in the fading light. The candle steady, the air rich with stillness. The listener rests here, realizing that peace is not found in forcing life to obey, but in bowing to its truth with quiet strength. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control dissolves in acceptance, and that the gentle bow of surrender is the doorway to freedom. The breath flows in a steady rhythm, like threads weaving together into cloth. Each inhale gathers presence. Each exhale releases separation. In this rhythm, silence reveals another truth, that nothing stands alone, and because all is interwoven, nothing can be truly controlled. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines walking through a forest at dawn. Dew clings to spiderwebs stretched between branches, each thread shimmering in the early light. A single drop of rain falls onto the web, and the entire structure trembles. One small movement affects the whole. The listener realizes life is the same. Every action, every choice, every breath touches countless others. Control dissolves in this web of interbeing, for nothing belongs to one alone. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha spoke of pratitya samutpada, dependent origination, the truth that all phenomena arise in relation to causes and conditions. Nothing exists independently, and nothing can be commanded in isolation. To believe in control is to ignore this web of connection. To awaken is to see that the threads hold each other, and that peace arises in harmony, not domination. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to breathe with awareness of interconnection. Inhale. Feel the air entering the body, knowing it was shaped by trees, by earth, by wind. Exhale. Release the breath, knowing it returns to the world, nourishing others. Each cycle of breath is a reminder. We are woven into the web, not masters of it. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control proves independence, that strength is standing apart. Others discover strength is belonging, that the web itself carries and sustains. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by reminding the heart of its place in the great fabric of life. The body responds with warmth. The chest feels expansive. The breath deep, the muscles relaxed. The hollow inside no longer aches with isolation. It feels woven into something greater, supported and whole. The narrator whispers, "See the web shimmer. Notice how all is connected. Just breathe. It's safe to belong, drifting deeper now." The forest glows with soft morning light, spiderwebs sparkling like jewels in silence. The listener rests here, realizing that control was always an illusion. The web of life moves as one, and peace is found in joining its flow. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control dissolves in the truth of interbeing, and that harmony arises when we rest as part of the whole. The breath moves like a tide, slow and steady, rising and falling without effort. Each inhale gathers stillness. Each exhale releases the surface tension of thought. In this rhythm, silence reveals another truth. Beneath all turbulence, beneath the restless waves of control, lies the quiet depth of the ocean. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines standing on the shore at dusk. Waves crash loudly, foam rising as the wind pushes the water into motion. Yet, as they close their eyes, they sink inward, deeper and deeper, until they reach the ocean floor. Down here, there is no storm. The water is calm, unmoving, vast. The listener realizes that while the surface cannot be controlled, the depths are always still, always at peace. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha spoke of the mind like water. Agitation stirs the surface, but clarity returns when stillness is cultivated. Control is the wind, restless and forceful, creating endless ripples. Awareness is the depth, unawakened and clear. To grasp at control is to live on the surface. To let go is to rest in the ocean's quiet depths. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to breathe as though sinking beneath the surface. Inhale, imagine descending deeper. Exhale, feel the turbulence fading above. With each breath, they drift further into the calm depths of the inner ocean, discovering stillness beyond the reach of control. A reflection surfaces. Some believe peace comes from stilling the surface waves, commanding life into calmness. Others discover peace has always existed in the depths, untouched by storms. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by guiding the heart below the surface into the stillness that was never disturbed. The body responds with release. The chest expands, the breath slows, the heartbeat steadies. The hollow inside no longer aches with turbulence. It feels deep, anchored, like the quiet ocean floor. The narrator whispers, "Sink beneath the waves. Rest in the depth. Just breathe. It's safe here, drifting deeper now." The ocean within the imagination glows with faint light, the waves crashing far above, the depths calm and unmoving. The listener rests here, realizing that control belongs to the restless surface, while freedom is found in the stillness beneath. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control fades when we descend into depth, and that peace has always been waiting in the quiet beneath the storm. The breath flows slowly, steady, as the turning of a great wheel. Each inhale gathers presence. Each exhale releases into rhythm. In this flow, silence reveals another truth, that life itself moves like a wheel, turning on its own, beyond command, beyond control. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines a great wooden wheel resting in a quiet field. At first, it stands still, silent under the weight of time. Then, without any hand to push it, the wheel begins to move, slowly at first, then with steady rhythm. Around and around it turns, day into night, season into season, birth into death. No effort of the listener's mind can stop it. nor can they make it turn faster. The wheel belongs to the law of existence itself. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha spoke of samsara, the endless cycle of birth and death, joy and sorrow, rise and fall. This cycle is not commanded by any single will. It is shaped by causes and conditions that unfold according to their own nature. To believe in total control is to deny this cycle. To see it clearly is to begin the path of freedom. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to breathe with the rhythm of the wheel. Inhale, the wheel rises. Exhale, the wheel descends. Each cycle of breath mirrors the turning of life, steady and unstoppable. Breath by breath, they learn to rest not in controlling the wheel, but in witnessing its turning with calm acceptance. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control means steering life, as though they could grasp the spokes of the wheel and force its direction. Others discover life moves regardless, and peace lies in walking gently alongside its motion. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by teaching that the wheel turns on its own, and that the heart can rest even as it turns. The body responds with calm. The chest rises and falls in rhythm, the breath steady, the muscles softened. The hollow inside no longer aches with resistance. It feels aligned with the great wheel, turning gently, endlessly, without strain. The narrator whispers, "See the wheel turn. Notice its rhythm. Just breathe. It moves on its own, drifting deeper now." The great wheel within the imagination glows under the light of dawn, turning steadily in silence. The listener rests here, realizing that control was never theirs. The wheel has always turned, and peace lies in moving with its rhythm. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control dissolves in the endless turning of the wheel, and that freedom is found in walking gently with its flow. The breath flows gently, steady as the flicker of a lantern in the dark. Each inhale gathers courage. Each exhale releases fear. In this rhythm, silence reveals another truth, that uncertainty is not a threat to be controlled, but a space to be breathed into with calm presence. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines standing at the edge of a forest path at night. The lantern in their hand glows softly, casting only a small circle of light. Beyond that circle, the path disappears into shadow. The instinct arises to demand certainty, to wish the entire forest illuminated, every step known in advance. Yet the lantern offers only this light, this step, this moment. Control cannot widen it. But if the listener breathes and trusts, the lantern reveals enough for each step, one after another, until the path carries them forward with ease. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha taught that craving certainty feeds fear, while mindfulness dissolves it. To live is to step into the unknown. The future is always dark forest, always beyond command. Yet each moment of awareness is a lantern, steady and sufficient. Control cannot banish uncertainty, but presence transforms it into peace. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to breathe with the lantern. Inhale. Imagine the light glowing brighter, illuminating the step ahead. Exhale. Feel the body soften, trusting the ground beneath the foot. Breath by breath, the fear of the dark dissolves, replaced by calm trust in the lantern's glow. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control means knowing everything in advance, that only certainty can bring rest. Others discover rest comes in the unknown, when trust replaces demand. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals not by banishing uncertainty, but by breathing into it with calm presence. The body responds with ease. The chest feels open, the breath slow, the heartbeat steady. The hollow inside no longer aches with fear of the unknown. It feels supported by the gentle glow of the lantern. The narrator whispers, "Hold the lantern. See the step ahead. Just breathe. It's safe to trust." Drifting deeper now. The forest path glimmers in soft light, the trees swaying gently, the shadows no longer threatening. The listener rests here, realizing that control was never meant to clear the forest. Peace lies in walking with the lantern, step by gentle step. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control dissolves when we breathe into uncertainty, and that the unknown becomes gentle when lit by presence. The breath flows slowly, like wind moving across an open field. Each inhale gathers awareness. Each exhale loosens the grip of ownership. In this rhythm, silence reveals a profound truth, that the sense of mine is fragile, and the control we think it grants is only an illusion. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines holding a clay bowl in their hands. At first, the bowl feels solid, dependable, theirs to keep forever. But as time passes, cracks begin to form along its surface. The listener tries to patch it, to cling tighter, but the bowl grows fragile until at last it crumbles softly back into the earth. Nothing was truly mine, not even this bowl, not even this moment. What was thought to be possession was always on loan from time. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha spoke of anatta, non-self, the truth that nothing belongs to us, not even the body, not even the mind. Ownership is an illusion, and with it, the belief in control. To see this clearly is not despair, but liberation, for when nothing is mine, nothing must be clung to. Life is free to flow. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to bring awareness to their own breath. Inhale. Feel the breath enter, a gift given freely. Exhale. Release it back into the world, never to be held. With each cycle, they discover that even the breath is not mine. It comes, it goes, it lives beyond control. The practice softens the need to possess, replacing it with reverence for the fleeting. A reflection surfaces. Some believe ownership creates safety, that to say, "This is mine," is to claim control. Others discover that safety comes from release, from resting in the truth that nothing needs to be owned to be cherished. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by dissolving the illusion of mine and opening the heart to freedom. The body responds with release. The chest feels lighter. The hands soften. The breath flows gently. The hollow inside no longer aches with the fear of losing. It feels spacious, open, belonging to the moment rather than to possession. The narrator whispers, "Nothing is mine. Everything is a gift. Just breathe. It's safe to let go." Drifting deeper now. The clay bowl in the imagination dissolves into earth, returning gently to where it began. The listener rests here, realizing that the illusion of ownership was never control, and that peace arises in the freedom of release. And so, silence teaches again that the fragile illusion of mine dissolves in truth, and that the heart finds rest when it no longer clings. The breath drifts like sand through an open palm, steady and inevitable. Each inhale gathers awareness. Each exhale lets go of what cannot be held. In this rhythm, silence offers another image, that control is like holding sand too tightly, always slipping away the more we grasp. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines sitting on a quiet beach at dusk. In their hand lies a mound of soft, golden sand. They curl their fingers inward, tightening their grip. At once, the grains begin to spill through the cracks, falling faster the harder the fist closes. When they finally open their hand, only a few grains remain, clinging faintly to the skin. The attempt to hold has only hastened the loss. The listener realizes this is the way of life. The tighter the grip, the faster it slips away. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha spoke of clinging as the root of suffering. To grasp what is changing is to guarantee loss. He compared life to a flowing stream. To try to seize it is to fight its nature, but to let it flow is to be carried gently by its current. The illusion of control is this grasping fist, while freedom is the open palm that accepts the passing of sand. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to bring awareness to their own breath. Inhale. Notice the desire to hold, to cling. Exhale. Imagine opening the palm, letting the grains fall freely. Each breath becomes an act of release, a gesture of trust in impermanence. A reflection surfaces. Some believe peace comes from holding tightly, ensuring nothing slips away. Others discover peace is found in opening the hand, allowing life to pass without resistance. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by teaching the grace of letting sand fall. The body responds with ease. The shoulders relax. The chest opens. The breath slows. The hollow inside no longer aches with strain. It feels open, like an empty hand warmed by the last light of the setting sun. The narrator whispers, "Open the hand, let the sand fall. Just breathe. It's safe to release, drifting deeper now." The beach within the imagination glows under twilight, waves lapping softly, grains of sand scattering gently back into the earth. The listener rests here, realizing that control was only a fist, and that peace lives in the open palm. And so, silence teaches again that control slips away like sand, and that freedom arises when the hand is open. The breath slows, deep and unhurried, like the hush of dawn settling over a quiet valley. Each inhale gathers awareness. Each exhale dissolves into spacious calm. In this rhythm, silence itself steps forward as teacher, showing that control is unnecessary when stillness speaks more clearly than words. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines entering a great stone hall, ancient and vast, where no voices echo and no footsteps disturb the air. The silence here is complete, yet it feels alive, a presence that teaches without sound. The listener sits upon the cool floor, waiting for guidance, but no voice comes. Instead, the silence itself becomes the teaching. It whispers that control is noise, a clutter of demands, while wisdom rises only when the noise subsides. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha often taught in silence as much as in words. There were times when no explanation was needed. The stillness of his presence was the Dharma itself. Silence reveals truths beyond control, truths that words cannot hold. To sit quietly, to listen deeply, is to learn from the space between. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to sit with their own silence. Inhale. Notice the faint hum of the mind. Exhale. Let the sound fade into stillness. Breath by breath, the chatter softens, leaving room for silence to teach. They discover that within stillness, questions dissolve, and clarity appears unbidden. A reflection surfaces. Some believe learning comes only from grasping, from controlling knowledge and holding it tightly. Others discover wisdom arises when control is released, when silence itself becomes the guide. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by teaching beyond words, offering lessons the mind alone cannot give. The body responds with reverence. The breath deepens. The chest feels calm. The hands rest loosely in the lap. The hollow inside no longer aches with the strain of seeking answers. It feels open, receptive, like a vessel being filled with quiet light. The narrator whispers, "Listen to the silence. It is your teacher. Just breathe. It's safe to be still, drifting deeper now." The great hall within the imagination glows faintly, the stones cool and timeless, the silence vast yet tender. The listener rests here, realizing that control was always noise, and that wisdom lives in the quiet between. And so, Silence teaches again that the illusion of control fades when we let stillness speak, and that the deepest truths are heard only in the hush. The breath flows gently, like petals opening beneath the morning sun. Each inhale gathers softness. Each exhale releases effort. In this rhythm, silence reveals a tender truth. Growth cannot be forced. Like a lotus rising from the mud, life unfolds in its own time, without control. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines standing at the edge of a pond at dawn. Beneath the water, hidden in the mud, lies the closed bud of a lotus. Day by day, it slowly rises, its stem stretching upward, its petals sealed in quiet promise. At last, without command, the flower opens, radiant, delicate, perfect in its timing. The listener realizes that no amount of grasping, urging, or control could have hastened its bloom. The lotus teaches patience, trust, and surrender. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha himself was often compared to the lotus, born in the mud, yet unstained, rising in beauty. This teaching reminds us that awakening, like a lotus, cannot be forced. The illusion of control whispers, "Make it happen now." Wisdom answers, "It will unfold when conditions are right." Peace lies in waiting with gentle trust. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to bring awareness to their own inner lotus. Inhale, imagine the bud within the heart. Exhale, see it resting, protected in silence. And inhale, feel it rising gently toward the surface. Trust that one day it will bloom. With each breath, the listener learns that control is unnecessary. The flower will open in its own season. A reflection surfaces. Some believe growth comes from force, that control speeds the journey to peace. Others discover growth is organic, unfolding like petals that open when the morning is ready. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by allowing the lotus to bloom without interference. The body responds with ease. The breath deepens. The chest feels tender. The muscles soften. The hollow inside no longer aches with impatience. It feels calm, like the bud resting in water, waiting for its own time. The narrator whispers, "See the lotus. Trust its timing. Just breathe. It's safe to wait, drifting deeper now." The pond within the imagination glimmers with morning light, the lotus opening in serene beauty. The listener rests here, realizing that control could never create this blossom. It blooms by its own quiet strength. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control fades before the truth of patience, and that peace arises when we trust the lotus to open on its own. The breath deepens, flowing like a clear reflection across still water. Each inhale gathers light. Each exhale softens the edges of resistance. In this rhythm, silence reveals another truth, that surrender is a mirror, showing us who we are when we no longer try to control. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines standing before a quiet lake at twilight. The surface is glass-like, perfectly still, reflecting the sky above with clarity. They reach down to stir the water with their hand, trying to shape the reflection. The ripples blur the image, scattering the light into fragments. But when they withdraw the hand and let the lake rest, the surface clears once more, and the reflection shines in full. Control had only clouded what was already present. Surrender restored the mirror. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha spoke of clarity as the natural state of mind, obscured only by clinging and craving. The attempt to control is like stirring the lake, endlessly disturbing what could otherwise be calm. To surrender is to allow the water to settle, so that the mind can reflect truth as it is. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to breathe as though smoothing ripples on the surface of the heart. Inhale. Notice the stirring of thought, the desire to control. Exhale. Allow the water to settle, the surface to still. With each breath, the reflection grows clearer until awareness itself becomes the calm lake. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control is clarity, that by shaping and fixing, they see more clearly. Others discover clarity arrives only when control dissolves, when the lake is left to rest. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by becoming a mirror, revealing peace when nothing is forced. The body responds with serenity. The chest feels open, the breath smooth, the muscles light. The hollow inside no longer aches with distortion. It feels like a calm surface, reflecting truth without effort. The narrator whispers, "Let the ripples fade. See yourself clearly. Just breathe. It's safe to surrender, drifting deeper now." The lake within the imagination glows under twilight, the reflection of the sky mirrored perfectly in its still attitudes. The listener rests here, realizing that surrender is not loss, but clarity, the mirror of silence showing the truth. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control disturbs the waters, while surrender allows the reflection to shine. The breath flows softly, like the rustle of leaves carried on evening air. Each inhale gathers calm. Each exhale releases what no longer serves. In this rhythm, silence offers another truth, that peace is not in possession, but in the art of letting go. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines walking through a forest in autumn. The trees stand tall, their branches heavy with golden leaves. A gentle breeze rises, and one by one, the leaves detach, drifting gracefully toward the earth. There is no struggle, no clinging, only release. The trees do not try to control the leaves, and yet in their letting go, a new season begins. The listener realizes that life, too, asks us to release what has completed its time. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha reminded his followers that all conditioned things are impermanent. To cling is to suffer. To release is to live in harmony with change. The illusion of control clutches at the leaf, demanding it stay. Wisdom opens the hand, watching it fall in beauty. Letting go is not abandonment, but the deepest trust in impermanence. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to breathe with the falling leaves. Inhale. Notice the branch, the weight of holding. Exhale. See the leaf drift downward, carried by the air. Breath by breath, the practice becomes an offering. What is no longer needed is released into silence, to return gently to the earth. A reflection surfaces. Some believe strength is in holding on, in controlling what must not be lost. Others discover strength is in letting go, in allowing life to flow as it will. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by teaching release, the quiet grace of falling leaves. The body responds with ease. The shoulders soften. The chest feels lighter. The hands rest open. The hollow inside no longer aches with clinging. It feels spacious, like a forest floor, carpeted with golden leaves. The narrator whispers, "Let the leaves fall. Watch them drift away. Just breathe." It's safe to release, drifting deeper now. The forest within the imagination glows with autumn light, leaves swirling gently in silence. The listener rests here, realizing that control was only the branch clinging too long, and that peace is the tree trusting the season's flow. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control fades in the presence of impermanence, and that letting go opens the heart to renewal. The breath deepens, flowing like a river moving steadily toward the sea. Each inhale gathers calm. Each exhale releases resistance. In this rhythm, silence reveals another truth, that life's current carries us whether we grasp at the banks or let ourselves drift. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines stepping into a slow, wide river. At first, they cling to the reeds along the shore, trying to hold steady, fearing where the water may lead. The grip is tight, the body tense. Yet the current tugs gently, urging release. When at last the hands let go, the body floats, carried with ease by the river's natural flow. There is no need to steer or control. The river already knows its way. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha compared craving to clinging, like grasping at reeds in a river. To resist the current is to suffer. To trust the flow is to find peace. The illusion of control imagines safety in the banks, but freedom lives in surrender to the water. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to breathe with the rhythm of the river. Inhale, feel the current lift and carry. Exhale, release the grip, trusting the flow. Each cycle of breath becomes a gesture of surrender, floating deeper into silence. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control means safety, that only by gripping the banks can one survive. Others discover safety in trust, in letting the river move as it always has. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by reminding the heart of the river's wisdom. The body responds with calm surrender. The chest feels buoyant, the breath unforced, the muscles light. The hollow inside no longer aches with fear of drifting. It feels carried, supported, free. The narrator whispers, "Let the river hold you. Trust its path. Just breathe. It's safe to float, drifting deeper now." The river within the imagination glimmers under moonlight, the current steady, the water cool and kind. The listener rests here, realizing that control was only the strain of clinging, while freedom was always in the letting go. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control dissolves in the river's flow, and that peace arises when we trust the current to carry us home. The breath flows steady, like the soft glow of a candle flame in the night. Each inhale gathers warmth. Each exhale releases strain. In this rhythm, silence reveals another truth, that control exhausts, but stillness renews. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines walking through a dimly lit chamber where countless candles burn. Some flames flicker wildly, buffeted by restless air. Others burn steadily, their light calm and unwavering. The listener notices that the flames, disturbed by grasping winds, are soon exhausted, their wax consumed quickly. But the candles burning quietly in still air last longest, their glow gentle and enduring. The heart recognizes the lesson. Control is like restless wind, draining energy. Stillness is the calm air that preserves the flame. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha often spoke of samavayama, right effort. He taught that effort is not forcing, not control, but a balanced energy that sustains without exhaustion. To overexert in clinging is to burn the flame too fast. To rest in stillness is to cultivate endurance, the energy of peace. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to breathe as though fanning the flame within the heart. Inhale, sense the flame glowing brighter. Exhale, feel the air steadying, the flame calm and unwavering. With each breath, exhaustion fades and renewal rises. A reflection surfaces. Some believe strength is found in control, in burning brightly at any cost. Others discover true strength is balance, in letting the flame glow gently, steadily, without strain. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by renewing the flame rather than exhausting it. The body responds with restoration. The breath deepens. The chest feels warm. The limbs heavy in comfort. The hollow inside no longer aches with depletion. It glows softly, like a candle sustained in calm air. The narrator whispers, "See the flame, steady and calm. Just breathe. It will not burn out. Drifting deeper now." The chamber within the imagination glimmers with candlelight, the flames steady, shadows dancing softly on the walls. The listener rests here, realizing that control was the restless wind, while peace is the air that lets the flame endure. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control drains energy, while stillness restores the gentle glow of life. The breath slows, like the hush of twilight settling over mountains. Each inhale gathers spaciousness. Each exhale dissolves the need to hold. In this rhythm, silence reveals another truth: that control is a prison, while letting go opens the gates of freedom. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines standing in a stone courtyard, high walls rising on every side. For years, they believed these walls kept them safe, built brick by brick from rules, from certainty, from control. Yet as they place their hand upon the wall, they feel it tremble. A hidden gate appears, wide and open. Beyond it lies an endless horizon, glowing with golden light. The walls were never needed. They fall away with a single step outward, and the heart expands into boundless freedom. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha spoke of liberation as vimutti, freedom from clinging. He taught that the mind builds prisons of control, but the bars are made of illusion. When grasping is released, the gates swing open. Control does not protect, it confines. Freedom is the natural state of the heart. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to breathe as though stepping through the gate. Inhale. Imagine standing before the walls of control. Exhale. See the gate open. Step into spacious light. Each breath becomes a step beyond confinement, into the vastness of silence. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control is protection, that walls ensure safety. Others discover safety comes in openness, in stepping beyond the prison of grasping. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by dissolving walls, revealing the freedom always waiting beyond. The body responds with relief. The chest expands. The shoulders release. The breath deepens with ease. The hollow inside no longer aches with confinement. It feels wide, open, alive with possibility. The narrator whispers, "Step through the gate. The horizon is yours. Just breathe. It's safe to be free, drifting deeper now." The courtyard within the imagination dissolves, the walls crumbling into dust. The horizon stretches endlessly, glowing in golden silence. The listener rests here, realizing that control was always a prison, and that freedom comes when the gate is opened. And so, silence teaches again that the illusion of control confines, while release opens the boundless sky of freedom. The breath moves like the tide at night, slow and eternal. Each inhale gathers light. Each exhale releases shadow. In this rhythm, silence reveals its final truth, that awakening comes not through control, but through release into the boundless present. The imagery unfolds. The listener imagines walking along a shore beneath a silver moon. Waves roll in and out with timeless rhythm, untouched by any command. They kneel at the edge, letting the water lap at their hands, cool and steady. For a lifetime, they believed the ocean could be mastered. Tides bent to will, waves forced into stillness. Now, in the hush of silence, they see clearly. The ocean is freedom itself, and to surrender is to become one with its flow. A Buddhist teaching arises. The Buddha spoke of nibbana, the extinguishing of clinging, the quiet flame of freedom. Control is fire, burning, endlessly, demanding fuel. Release is cool water, the ending of hunger, the quenching of thirst. To awaken is to let the fire fade into stillness, to rest in the vast ocean of peace. A mindful practice unfolds. The listener is guided to breathe with the tide. Inhale. Feel the wave rising, carrying the body upward. Exhale. Feel the wave falling, carrying the body into rest. Breath by breath, they merge with the ocean, no longer separate, no longer grasping. Silence becomes the water itself, endless and free. A reflection surfaces. Some believe control is awakening. That effort can force freedom into being. Others discover freedom is already here, waiting in the space beyond control. Tonight, the listener leans into the second truth. They see that silence heals by revealing what was always present. The boundless sea of release. The body responds with vast calm. The chest feels wide as the horizon, the breath smooth as tide, the mind spacious and clear. The hollow inside no longer aches with struggle. It has dissolved into ocean, endless and whole. The narrator whispers, "Be the ocean, vast and free. Just breathe. The struggle has ended, drifting deeper now." The shore within the imagination glows under moonlight, waves rolling endlessly, the sky wide and infinite. The listener rests here, realizing that control was always fire, and that freedom is cool water, endless and still. And so, silence teaches its final lesson, that the illusion of control fades into the sea of release, and that awakening is found not in grasping, but in letting go. The breath slows even more now, long and spacious, like night deepening into quiet rest. Each inhale is soft, each exhale is a surrender. The journey that began with seeking has reached its gentle end. 30 steps of silence, 30 teachings unfolding, all leading to this still place. Here, there is no need to search, no need to control, no need to strive. The listener rests in the truth that is whispered again and again, that peace is not something to be taken, but something always waiting once the grip is released. The imagery becomes tender. The listener imagines lying on soft earth beneath a vast sky. The stars shimmer overhead, infinite and calm. The earth beneath holds them with quiet strength, steady and forgiving. The air is cool, the silence full. Nothing needs to be done. Nothing needs to be fixed. All is well. The narrator speaks softly. Just breathe. The journey rests now. You have walked through illusions and you have arrived at stillness. There is nowhere else to go, nothing else to hold. Only this breath, this silence, this peace. The body melts into the earth. Muscles grow heavy. Shoulders sink. The mind loosens its final threads of thought. The hollow inside is no longer hollow. It is filled with the quiet presence of being. The wind down deepens with gentle repetition. It's safe to rest. It's safe to let go. Drifting deeper now. Peace is here. Each phrase is like a lullaby, softening the listener into sleep. The silence wraps around them like a blanket, the breath rocking them like waves. The stars above continue their quiet watch, patient and eternal. The narrator whispers one final reflection. Control was only a shadow. Freedom has always been yours. Tonight, you rest in it fully. The breath grows slower. The pauses between longer, like soft spaces of infinite calm. The body drifts. The mind dissolves. The journey closes gently. And with the faintest smile, the final sign-off comes, tender and complete. The journey rests now, and so can you. Sweet dreams.